Hi, welcome back to the South Australian Sports Show. Well, the SANFL Grand Final was an absolute belter.
It was a beauty.
On Sunday, mate. Over 40,000 people at the game. North Adelaide triumphant over Nord. Our next guest, Mitch Harris, was the umpire in that game. Mitch, thanks for coming in, mate.
No, that's all good. Thanks for having me.
Is that the biggest crowd you've umpired in front of, Mitch? Over 40,000?
Yeah, definitely.
For you, mate, you run out. What's the atmosphere like?
It was electric. From the moment you step out on the field and the clubs come out and everyone's just screaming, basically. And it's very loud out in the middle.
Congratulations. And when did you know you were going to be the central umpire?
I found out last Monday. So Shane Harris, my dad, he gives us a call on Monday morning, says you got the grand final. And from that moment on, it's just emails of where you have to be and when.
But what a fantastic game it was, for that to be your first, and many are saying it's probably the best grand final for probably 20 years. It was exciting. I was there, and I must admit it was probably for the first time that the umpires, you don't even realise they were there.
Yeah, no,
that was great.
Yeah, that's pretty much our aim in a grand final, is not to be seen. If no one realises that you're there, and then you've done a really good job.
Hey, Mitch, for the players, different players react differently over the course of the week in a build-up to a final. Some can't sleep, they get anxious. Yeah. What were you like for the week?
I was pretty relaxed. Obviously, as the closer it got, the more anxious you get about the first bounce. But once the first bounce went off, it was just like any other game.
But you've got a dad who's a legend in umpiring here in South Australia. Did you confide in him at all during the week on how to handle it? I mean, you'd done the reserves the year before and obviously did exceptionally well to get elevated into this one.
A little bit. We had a talk about what happens during the week, because we have a few functions we have to go to, and just about enjoying the moment, really, because you never know if you'll ever get another grand final. So just enjoy it.
And what was the key for the grand final to let it run? I mean, that was the one thing I really noticed, watching the game, that you really let the game run. Yeah,
that was our aim. Just let them play footy. The last words from Dad was that if they want to play footy, let them play. If they don't, then you pay free kicks until they do.
And actually, you showed that a couple of times where when there was a few scraps and a few melees, which I love in grand finals, you just threw the ball straight up, and if the guys wanted to keep wrestling, well, so be it. And I thought that was a great approach.
Yeah. Well, that's our aim. We're there to umpire footy, not referee fights. So the best way to do it is just to get the ball going, and then the players go for the footy. So,
Mitch, the players come in at half time, the coaches give an address on how they're going. Yep. For you guys in at half time, what's the instructions at half time for you guys?
None. Our coaches don't come in at half time.
No. It's unusual, isn't it?
We don't need to change anything. What we're doing is the way we're going to umpire the game. So, we don't get any half-time debrief or anything.
All right, at the end of the game, the players, of course, mate, the winning team's out there celebrating, the losing team's going, how much longer do I have to sit here before I get off the ground? For you guys, what's happened when the game's over?
We go back into the rooms and say well done and all that, and then we just went back out and watched the presentation. And then after that, we just went back in and had a few beers, and then we have a function at the Cathedral Hotel that all the umpires go to.
What about the momentum of the game? I mean, as a spectator in the grandstand, you think, North seem to have it, but all of a sudden, Nord has it. Yeah. And then when you think that Nord's actually really got control, North just kicked a goal out of their backside.
Yeah, they play good footy.
Did that feel for you as well, that you could think, Nord actually seems to have the initiative here?
Yeah, I felt, especially the first half, we felt that Nord had a lot more control. Yeah. But North just
scoreboard pressure
kept scoring, and Nord probably couldn't stop them.
Yeah, it was a great game. You didn't have to have a head count for that game, did you? When
no,
they coming back,
no counting.
I don't want to put you in a difficult situation, because I know you umpired that game, and then as it's transpired, North have gone on and won the grand final. Do the umpires ever do a head count? Do you ever just, sometimes you're sitting there for a while and you're waiting for the TV to go, I may as well have a look around the ground, see how many blokes are on here. It's not your responsibility in any way, but have you ever, over the journey so far, thought, do you wonder how many blokes are out here? Or you just expect it to be that way?
Not often. Sometimes you look at the bench and count how many are on the bench. So if you see 3 on the bench for both teams, then you know that there's only 18 on the field. But it's not something you do.
You wouldn't expect today's footy either, would you? I mean, you're looking at so many officials on the sideline from both clubs, as well as the SANFL, and for that to happen, it's odd. It's very, very odd. And of course, it's not up to you to.
No.
But it's an interesting rule though that the club has to come to yourself and say, we'd like a head count? And would you know what to do if a player came up to you or the captain came up and said, look, we want to stop the game, we want a head count?
You know what to do. Obviously, doing it correctly in the heat of the moment, if for instance in a preliminary final, to keep a level head, but you just count the players, and then either one of the team gets a shot at goal effectively, and then I've never had to do it, so.
Mitch, last year reserves, Westies and Sturt, you umpired the reserves grand final. This year North Nord grand final in the seniors. Is there much difference in the umpiring? I mean, obviously the standard of the game is a bit quicker.
Yeah.
For you, is there much different?
Nah. Basically, we have a set of team rules that we follow. Whether you're umpiring league or under 16s, you umpire to the same rules. Just protect the ball player, and it's just the best way to go about it.
Can you put your own stamp on the game? And I'll ask you this because I last year's reserve grand final, Sturt Westies, I thought was probably more entertaining than the leagues. I thought the league game that year was a bit like circle work. A lot of pressure. There was a few little spot fires sort of happened on the game. A little bit similar this year as well, where it was still controlled, but there was there was a lot of aggression out on the field, which was very entertaining to watch. So you can put your little sort of now on your style. Yeah,
you can, because obviously if you pay a lot of free kicks, then a lot of that stuff doesn't happen, and then the game doesn't flow. So the less free kicks you pay, the more the game will sort of.
I really like that, Phil. I think that's the way to do it. He umpires magnificently.
Yep.
I think honestly, we have the less decisions and free kicks, etc., etc. It's just for those little ticky tack ones. It seems to get the players back on their heels.
Do you have to do it early, Mitch? Do you assert your authority early?
Yeah. So we say the first 10 minutes of a game is when you can set it up. So. If they're not playing footy in those first 10 minutes, then you pay a few more free kicks to make sure they're going for the footy.
How do you determine? The one that always amazes me, I'm sitting there watching and a bloke just belts another bloke. I come up behind and on him, a whack in the back, and you kind of go, hey, we don't want any of that. Yeah. Then another guy does it. How do you determine which one warrants a free and which one is, there's a bit of, bit of boys being boys?
We've basically had a rule that you give them a warning,
say
don't do that anymore, and then the next one you just pay a free kick.
Yeah, makes
sense.
And
then they'll stop.
What's the hardest rule for you to umpire? We hear over the course of the journey, really difficult in the AFL to work out holding the ball.
Yeah.
Or what's the toughest?
Yeah, the holding the balls are probably the toughest because it's just interpretation.
Yeah.
How long's too long?
Yeah.
And
the players try to be cunning with it too, don't they? They're like, I'm trying to handle it out with no intention, or they bring it under and you go. And then it would depend on the angle where you are as to
exactly
how you
what you see.
And whether they've actually dragged in as well. I mean, that's the one that seems to sort of get me. That's players are reaching over and actually bringing in under the player that's underneath them, and they're getting caught for holding the ball. So that's the one that really frustrates me. And I suppose it's hard for the umpires to actually say, how do we determine that particular rule?
Yeah, it's all holding the balls are basically. You got to be in a good position to be able to see it. So you got to see whose hand's on the ball to drag it in. If you can't see that, then you can't pay it. So that's when you just ball it up.
Mitch, we sit and watch the AFL or the SANFL, and you obviously do the same. You're watching the players. Are you watching the game? Are you watching the umpires? Are you umpiring at what's happening? How is it for you to sit and watch a game?
It's probably different because obviously I have a good understanding of the rules. But
it's funny, most spectators think they do too, don't they? I did. Which they don't.
But I umpire it as I would, but obviously with my team's playing, then I get pretty passionate about it.
Your goals AFL, is that? Yeah, of course it would. Yeah, and that's something that you'd see in the next few years, or you think you've still got a little bit of, I suppose, an apprenticeship to do.
Hopefully within the next 2 or 3 years. Obviously, I've got to work on my fitness. I'm not the fittest bloke going around, which has always been one of my major flaws. So, big summer this year and get running and get my time trial times down.
Well, that's narrowed it down for me. I won't be umpiring. Fitness is no good, and I don't know the rules, so that takes care of it. Hey, Mitch, really appreciate coming in. It was a ripping final, so well done, mate.
Well
to
done.
you and your crew. So,
cheers.
hope you can stay with us. Still a bit more to come on the show.